a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girl being raised by an African? She shouldn't be alive. The Doctor...
What? What? She shouldn't be alive? So the other day I did a video responding to some people and their thoughts about Oliver Cole being on the TARDIS, and the reaction to it was interesting. But in and amongst those comments, one name kept coming up in the comments section. A channel by the name of Nega Bungie, I'm saying that very carefully so that I don't say something wrong, with a video called Doctor Who, Politics Over Substance. And immediately, the thumbnail is George Floyd with Epstein, I don't even know what that means, RNs. I think we're going to be entering enemy territory here. 180,000 views, so this is a much bigger video than the one we've covered previously on a channel of a similar size, so no one can say I'm punching down or whatever. So let's take a look.
Doctor Who. I'm not embarrassed to say, I'm a little embarrassed to say, I was a big fan of this show as a young boy, and I can prove it. I had like 3 whole Doctor Who children's toys. Matt Smith in David Tennant clothes, Slevine, and Wheelchair Cyberman. I watched all the way...
That's absolute, that's absolute child's play compared to some of us, but anyway, carry on.
Up through Capaldi. Everyone said it was I thought it was alright. Then they tried to thrust a woman onto me, and I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Women in my children's television program? I'm a 37-year-old man. I've avoided them up to this point. I'm not going to fall off the wagon now. As it turns out, nobody else likes women either. And the show...
I can't tell. I think... he sounded sarcastic at the beginning. But then he was like, oh no one else liked women either. So I don't know whether he's being serious. I thought he was being sarcastic at the start, but maybe that was giving him too much credit. I don't know. Did that not sound sarcastic to anyone else?
Those ratings dropped drastically. The BBC, seeing this disaster, decided to bring back Russell T Davies, who wrote the show back when it was good. Everyone was very excited about this, so much so that they didn't see all of the horrific warning signs, such as Davies being a homosexual man and complete...
Okay, so... Again, I'm struggling to tell, because the way that this has been, the way that this is being delivered kind of gives the vibe of it being in jest, but then there isn't, a punchline. It's kind of just, they hated women, and Russell T Davies is a homosexual man. And then that's it.
Completely retconning one of the main villains of the show for virtue signaling points.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so I have, opinions on this. Obviously, a lot of people ask me, what's your whole opinion on the Davros thing? And the trouble is, when that happened, it became, such an immediate minefield immediately of suddenly everyone had became disability representation experts, and if you don't know anything about me, I am actually, someone in a wheelchair, and I love the character of Davros. But there is also a true statement in the fact that disabilities have been used to reflect evil. You can go back as far as something like Captain Hook, for example, right? It's a very obvious, very well-known media trope when you see it. So wanting to address that, I completely understand. I think where I disagreed with this is... if Davros was that difficult to implement for Children in Need Night, which I understand, obviously Children in Need Night in the UK is very much about, obviously kids with disabilities and certain needs and stuff, then maybe just don't use Davros, you know what I mean? Maybe just use a different character. That's kind of where I go with it. I didn't personally feel the need for Davros to be changed, but I also do agree with the notion that he is part of a wider stereotype. Does that make sense? I'm kind of in the middle. Which I know to a lot of people won't be very satisfying, because immediately after this happened, everyone was viscerally either, this is terrible, or this is fine actually, and I was kind of just in the middle there. I think the point that they were trying to make is not an entirely invalid one, but I just don't know whether Children in Need was the right place to make that point. And also, I find it interesting that this is, one of the few examples that still gets used, 3 years on from this. This is ultimately a what's effectively, like a sketch for charity, I don't know whether it really has the greatest implications for the show itself, but continue.
And there's a problem with the Davros of old in that he's a wheelchair user who is evil. And I had problems with that, and a lot of us on the production team had the problems with that, of associating disability with evil.
Very rich coming from the guy who invented wheelchair Cyberman. He didn't...
See, I will say, that is a fair point. Russell has used that trope before. He's not wrong there, in all fairness. I will give him points for that. Like, I do think there is something to say for the fact that maybe, as time goes on, your views on this stuff can change. But I don't think it's necessarily unfair to claim that, like, Russell has also used this trope before as well. So now, like, seeing it as an issue comes off a little bit odd. Again, I'm somewhere in the middle on it. I see where Davis was trying to come from. I also just don't know whether it was that necessary in the end, and whether it was really worth the political headache that it caused. If anything, I think you could have just done it and said it was set pre-Genesis, and no one would have really cared that much. I know a lot of people ask me my opinion on that, so I hope that wraps that up.
Even need to be in the wheelchair. You chose to put him in that wheelchair. You spent half the show's budget making that fancy wheelchair. He gets out of it like 5 minutes later, starts walking around. Has anyone ever...
It does look cool, though. I will say it does look cool.
Looked at this character and thought, wheelchair user. He's supposed to be like half robot. It's like saying
I mean, like this, I don't know, the subtext is very, like, clearly, like, yeah, okay, it's not a literal wheelchair, but, like, that is kind of what it is. It's just a space version of a wheelchair. Like, I don't think that's an entirely out there read to have, particularly.
Centaur as a wheelchair user. Luckily, nobody saw the children.
I mean, it just isn't really, like... Look at that centaur. That's not a wheelchair. There's very clearly a difference. Hang on, let me get the picture of the centaur.
He's supposed to be like half robot. It's like saying a fucking centaur is a wheelchair.
Like, yeah, that's not a wheelchair user because there's no chair. Like, it's a creature with, like, horse legs. I don't know. Weird point. Carrying on.
User. Luckily, nobody saw the Children in Need special because nobody in the UK cares about children, let alone children in need. When returning to the show, Davis made an executive decision, and instead of writing anything good, he was instead just going to play on people's nostalgia for the old stuff by bringing the old cast back for the 60th anniversary special.
Oh no, not bringing back old cast for anniversary specials. Who would ever do such a thing? And then I'm going to, like, cut in every single anniversary special that the show has ever done. Like, you can argue that maybe the 60th had too much of a focus on, like, RTD's own characters. And I think if your issue with the 60th is that, then fair. I can't really knock you for that. If you want to see more variety, fair enough. But, like, to just say, oh, well, you're relying on nostalgia for specials, it's like, well, yeah, that's kind of what specials have always been. Like, that's kind of just Doctor Who tradition at this point. It's weird to kind of, like, pull him up on that specifically now, rather than, like, any other time the show has done this. I think there's definitely an argument to be made that the show has started relying on nostalgia too much outside of anniversary season. 100%, Rani, Omega, Sutek, I think there's 100% an argument to be made there. But in an anniversary-specific context, I don't know, it's a weird point.
Specials. They do like anniversary specials every 10 years. It's all very homosexual. Everyone's really
Anniversary specials are gay?
Excited for the return of Doctor Who. After slogging through the woman era, the men's men are back in charge.
You're assuming he as a pronoun.
It's funny how, like, every single one of these videos uses, like, the exact, like, 3 same, like, examples. It's always Davros changed for a charity special. They said pronouns once, and they're probably going to mention the what's the other one? The male presenting Time Lord. And I will say, I think those 2 lines, bit cringe. I think for a lot of the Starbeasts, they actually handled the trans stuff pretty well. But there's just moments where you can tell that Russell T Davies is a 61-year-old man at the time of writing this. Like, and I do think it comes across a little bit cringe at times. I'm not going to disagree. But also, I think the idea that, like, I don't know, this is really that deep just kind of takes me out. It's like, okay, it's like you've pulled up 2 lines from one episode and a charity sketch. Okay, like, I don't know.
True. Yes, sorry, good point. Are you he or she or they?
That's right, folks, we got transgender aliens and transgender black people. Donna Noble's daughter is...
Also, like, the Meep isn't transgender, they're just, like, genderless. Like, which a lot of, like, animals and creatures in Doctor Who are. Alpha Centauri, for example, is genderless. I mean, using transgender and, like, genderless interchangeably is weird, but again, carrying on.
Trans. You may be thinking, ooh, gross. Not my Doctor Who. My doctor was a transphobic racist.
That's where I used to live when I was a little boy.
Okay, so I'm glad that he's pointing out that, like, this stuff does exist in the show prior to the 2020s. So I'm wondering what the issue is. The issue just that, like, the show has always been like this?
Kill yourself.
But they actually weave this into the story very efficiently. Let me tell you something. Back in the good old days, Donna gets hit by something called the meta crisis, which is a thing that I don't know what it is. But it gives her a bunch of eldritch knowledge.
Fair enough.
Then
you
she
know
gets
what?
a
It is just kind of like Russell's Deus Ex Machinas, but you know, we let him get away with it back then because this scene was heartbreaking, man.
memory wiped and can't remember any of it, or she'll die. But that knowledge still exists. She just can't remember any of it. So when she had a son, the eldritch knowledge jumped from her to him, and he went crazy and he cut his dick off and became a woman. That's actually what seemingly Russell was going for. He was like
Don't think that's what was said, but sure. I guess.
bragging about it in an interview. I don't think you thought this through at all, Russell. Anyway, they save the world through the power of transgenderism and being a woman, and then they undo the whole meta-crisis easily.
We know everything. Thanks.
And you know nothing. It's a shame you're not a woman anymore.
There we go, there it is! There it is! We've got the Doctor Who is woke now bingo! We've got the Davros scene, we've got the pronoun scene, and we've got male presenting Time Lord. We've got the trifecta. If you're playing along at home, then you're probably going to be going home with a brand new Toyota Ranthor, because you've won the jackpot. Yeah, I mean, all these videos feel like they're made in like a factory. It's just the same 3 or 4 points repeated to the same like few thousand people ad nauseum, and that's about it.
We've got all that power, but there is a way to get rid of it. Something a male-presenting Time Lord will never understand.
Just let it go.
Also, the thing that I find really weird about this scene, I know that like I'm kind of playing into this by like giving my commentary in this scene, but the Doctor was a woman in the show like 5 minutes ago, as of this scene. So it's just kind of weird in general. Like I much prefer the Capaldi way of viewing it as like Time Lords just don't really care that much about gender particularly. They kind of just see it as like, why is that so relevant to humans? Yeah, that's like the one thing where I'm like, it's just kind of weird. I don't know. It's like, yeah, I'm not that upset over it. Like, I don't think it's been worth being the one point that people use forever. But like, I definitely think that could have done without it. But there's been worse lines, you know. I don't know.
And we choose to let it go.
How is Bro playing the whole scene? He's gonna get claimed.
Should have just done that in the first place, really. If you've never watched this show, you don't know how big a deal this is. This is on like the same level as them bringing the Emperor back in Star Wars. This is horrific.
Nah, this is not on the same level as Emperor Palpatine. Are you joking? No, that's not remotely on the same level. Like, no? Not really. I would not say it's remotely close. Like, Palpatine, bringing back Palpatine kind of just comes out of nowhere, whereas at least with this, whatever you want to say about the Star Beast, and there are plenty of things to criticize about it, like, the whole story was devised around solving that meta-crisis issue, and, like, you know, having that be addressed. Like, whereas Palpatine, literally, the line in Rise of Skywalker is literally, somehow Palpatine returned. There is nothing, and I will lay down my gauntlet for this. There is no line of dialogue as bad in RTD2 Doctor Who than somehow Palpatine returned. That is just, like, on a completely different level, in my opinion, of just, what was that? You know, I think that's just completely, like, on another level, in my opinion.
This episode really sets the tone going forward, because I watched this and went, it's over, it's finished, it's done for. Andrew Tate, he wasn't happy.
Fuck, he misgendered me!
I don't know, man. I don't really know whether, like, I'm gonna be getting my Doctor Who opinions from famed, like, sex predator Andrew Tate. Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, if you do, fair enough, but, like, I don't know, man. Seems like a weird person to get your opinions from.
How could you do that to Meep?
Who the fuck is Meep?
I do remember seeing this and kind of just finding it, like, incredibly, like, funny. Like, what a weird time to be alive. Andrew Tate was, like, reacting to Doctor Who. Like, what was going on there?
Next episode is called Wild Blue Yonder. This episode is interesting because all of the reviewers say it's really good when it's actually shit. And
I mean, I'm gonna be fascinated to see how he says this one is shit, because, like, even people who hate this era of Doctor Who can largely agree that this one's good. Like, even the most, like, cynical people of this era have gone, nah, in all fairness, this one's well written. So I'm curious to see what he means by this. From what I can remember, it doesn't even do anything particularly, like, quote-unquote woke either, other than, oh, actually, no, he'll probably mention Isaac Newton being played by a non-white guy for a scene, and also that one scene where the Doctor implies he might be gay now, and then, like, that'll be it. That's my guess. Let's see if I'm right.
pisses me off because it makes me feel like a dumbass. So this episode immediately engages in Kalergi Plan wee wuzzery.
Bruh. I'm too good at, like, spotting these videos at this point. Like, they all just use the same talking points regurgitated. Doesn't it get boring? Aren't you tired? Don't you want to talk about different things when it comes to Doctor Who, rather than mentioning the same, like, 3 or 4 same instances of this? Like, I don't know, man. It's just, like... And, I mean, I think, like, this scene is, like, ultimately, like, unnecessary. Not even because of, like, the race-swapping thing. At the end of the day, Doctor Who's historical episodes have never been particularly accurate anyway. But, like... For me, I don't even think this scene needs to exist. Like, the story could easily just start at the Wild Blue Yonder, like, ship, and the story could go on from there. But, like, this scene is otherwise so inconsequential that, like, yeah. Obviously, it sets up the Mavity joke, which still hasn't been resolved yet, but, you know. Sorry, is there... Wait, are they doing a great replacement bit? Like, I'm struggling to understand what
The Doctor and Donna end up getting stranded on a spaceship. Keen-eyed viewers may notice that it looks like shit. The monsters here are the not...
I mean, I will grant you that corridor looks a bit dodgy at points, but again, it's like, when have we ever judged Doctor Who based on that?
things. They are shapeshifters who slowly transform into exact replicas of the Doctor and Donna, but simultaneously they have to make them really scared using bad visual effects, because when they're scared they like think faster, and that means that they copy their brains quicker. These characters are mind readers, but they don't shapeshift into any sort of deep-seated fear. Like, they don't turn into a big spider. It's just sort of like exclusively Freddy Krueger arm-stretching shit. Low-budget type stuff, you know. They give themselves long teeth.
It's Doctor Who. Like, you are aware what show you're watching, right? Like, obviously as well, it's worth noting that a lot of the 60th stuff was made before, like, the Disney cash injection. So I'm not exactly sure what you were expecting. Like, would it be cool if they were a bunch of, like, eldritch horrors? Probably. But also, they have to be conscious of budget as well. This isn't, like, I don't know, this isn't, like, a high-budget horror movie or, like, an MCU film. Like, I don't know. Seems weird. Like, right now, your reasoning for this episode being bad there was one scene where Isaac Newton was not white, and the fact that it doesn't look high budget enough, which just seems incredibly shallow for, like, someone claiming to also be a Doctor Who fan as well. Like, if anything, you should know, the budget has never been this show's strong point, and likely never will be.
That's pretty scary. They don't go crazy with it. They don't give themselves a big multi-mouth like Orochi. It's more like Wish Halloween costume type shit. Then the Doctor and Donna get split up and forced into a who's the real one scenario. Tell me something only the real Doctor would know. A little bit difficult considering it knows everything he knows and also knows exactly what he's thinking at the exact time he's thinking it. Realistically...
Did you watch the episode? Like, the point is that they learn as they're going along. So, yeah, like, they're starting to learn some things about the Doctor and Donna, but they don't know every intimate like detail of how they work yet as they go along. Did you watch the episode, or are you just kind of guesstimating based on things other people have said? Because like you said at the beginning of this, you used to be a Doctor Who fan, so is this a case of where you actually watch this in good faith, or is this just a case of you saw that like talking about Doctor Who negatively online juiced numbers and went, Ferb, I know what we're going to do today. Like, I don't know. It feels like you haven't even watched it at this point.
Russell T Davies created a creature that should be basically impossible to beat. He does this more than once. So at this point, he just starts inventing a bunch of fucking bullshit.
Oh, well, I can't follow any of this. And that is proof. Because let's not pretend I'm the stupid one.
You think you're stupid?
Of course I do.
That's very Donna. That's so Donna. That's my Donna. Except, Donna does not think she's stupid.
Oh, I do.
No. Donna thinks she's stupid, and sometimes she thinks she's brilliant. She thinks both. Because that's the astonishing thing about people from our planet. They can believe two completely different things at exactly the same time.
Why can't they grasp that? They know every...
Just like a totally fair explanation. They don't understand the complexities of human thought. They get like the basics, but they struggle to understand the like intimate nuances of like human emotion. Just a completely fine premise for a monster. Like I don't know. Am I going insane? Maybe I am.
Everything you know and everything you're thinking. Let's say, for the sake of argument, they can't grasp the concept of contradiction, even though they definitely should. Surely they would still know the answer anyway, even if it didn't make any sense to them, because they know everything you're currently thinking. This is why I fucking hate this episode.
Well, no, because like people can think more than one thing at once, which they can't quite grasp. What are we doing here, man? This is off to an atrocious start. If you're reviewing every episode like this, I'm gonna be real with you. This is like CinemaSins level, like, just like, oh, well, actually, it's like, it doesn't even work.
Because everybody watches this as it's smart, and it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Salt! You can't cross salt. In our universe, it is said that vampires, demons, and...
That's salt, bro. That salt, like, caused 1,000 problems. Man. Wherever he got that salt from, I don't know where he got it from. What's the betting he mentions that? I said that as a joke. What's the betting he mentions that?
Ghosts cannot cross a line of salt until they've counted every single grain.
This isn't a contradiction, this is an outright lie. Why would they fall for that if they know everything they're thinking? I mean, one of them even calls it out as a fucking lie and they still fall for it anyway. Now, throughout this
have you never heard of someone bluffing? I'm just...
entire episode, there has been a big mystery, because every now and then, a little robot takes a step, and a big word booms around the infinity corridor. Wow. What's going on, I wonder? Well, the answer to this mystery is that the ship's single crew member, there's only one person running this entire ship.
Wasn't it implied that the rest of them died? I could be wrong, but wasn't the whole point that that person was the only one left, and the creatures had gotten rid of the rest of them?
Look how fucking big this ship is. There's one person running it? That's ludicrous.
I mean, again, I don't think there was. I could be wrong. Someone could correct me in the comments, but I'm pretty sure that's not even true.
The only form of transportation is golf caddies. What if there's an engine problem? This person had to spend 3 days trekking down to fix it? So this person managed to fly off course so far that they reached the edge of the universe.
Again, this is incredibly, like, CinemaSins level criticism of just, sure, I guess. I don't know.
Women drivers, you know what I'm saying? And then...
women drivers joke, I guess. There has been nothing of substance said in this entire video so far.
And then the Not Things show up and they start copying her. So she comes up with a genius scheme, but she comes up with it slowly because that means that the monsters can't read her mind for some reason. It doesn't really make any sense. So she programs the
well, no, because they like the reason they got to get people scared is because your adrenaline is pumping and you're rushing to think of situations and solutions to different scenarios. So by thinking slowly and methodically, it's more difficult for them to trace. Is that such like an impossible concept to conceive of? Like, I think that's a fairly reasonable weakness for a villain like this to have. Am I crazy? Like, he's chosen the worst episode to try and do this with, because it's one that like does just work, you know? Like, if you wanted to CinemaSins ding any episode, I feel like this is one of the worst ones you could do it with.
Take like 1,000,000 years, because that means that they can't figure out what's happening, and then she kills herself. Now, I would argue...
Also, isn't the point also that they couldn't read the robot because the robot doesn't have a brain, therefore that's why it's like a perfect mechanism?
Considering they have all of your engineering knowledge, realistically all you've done there is give them 1,000,000 years to figure it out. Whereas if you set it to a shorter time, like, for example, 1 second, the creatures may very well figure it out, but there's not much they can do about it. I mean, at the end of the episode, the creatures have like 30 seconds to turn it off, and they could not get there in time. Before the episode ends, Russell has to hit you with a little bit of a fake out.
Who's the head of the choir?
Mrs. Bean!
And why is Mrs. Bean funny?
Because it's the name of a vegetable given to a woman.
The real one said that. The real one said that fucking nonsensical shit. I saw some people comparing this to Midnight and then saying that
I think that's just a fine fake out. Like, it was a high tense situation and she didn't know what to say, so just said anything. Bloody hell. This is a level of criticism that, like, is so low that I'm, like, shocked that this got 180,000 views, yeah? This is what constitutes good criticism now in like a video. Man.
They were on par with one another. They were saying this is the scariest episode ever made. If you're scared of this, your fucking life is sunshine and rainbows. You know what I'm scared of? HMRC and syphilis. The final special episode is The Giggle. And this is the episode where you really start to see that Davis has no ideas whatsoever and uses the trident.
Yeah, so far, by the way, he's reviewed 2 episodes, and the main issues he's had is trans people, special effects, and the monsters not understanding things, which seems perfectly plausible to me. Like, that's it. That's all we've got so far. How far in are we to this video? 8 minutes. 8 minutes. Oh god, this is 44 minutes long. Christ. Okay.
True Disney method of bringing back old characters to try and member bury people into watching the show. The issue with this, in regards to Doctor Who, is that not a single...
Do you have to have this giggling soundtrack over this entire segment? It's very annoying.
Visual viewer of this show has watched classic Who. So every time he brings back an old villain, he has to show a literal PowerPoint presentation in the episode explaining who they actually are, because...
I don't know, I feel like the Toymaker was one of the least egregious in this regard. The main issue with, I don't think the issue with bringing back classic villains is that the audience doesn't know. It's that the issue that, like, a lot of RTD2 villains had when it comes to bringing back classic villains is they don't give us a reason to care about them beyond the fact that they were from the past. So, for example, with Sutekh, right? How do they make Sutekh relevant to Empire of Death? They have a literal scene where the 15th Doctor watches Pyramids of Mars on a screen. What I think they do quite well about the Toymaker is they actually make him seem like a genuine, interesting character beyond his original appearance. And they use him as kind of like this foundation of the pantheon that they're setting up, which I think works pretty well.
Nobody knows. So the villain of this episode is the Toymaker, who appeared once in the first Doctor's run and then never again. The Toymaker is a 4th-dimensional entity who travels to the material universe to play video games with mortal men. You may be thinking, wow, this is a great concept that could lend itself to an interesting story. I wonder what game he and the Doctor are going to play. They play the most strategic, nail-biting game of all time.
The simplest game of all. That's cut. Highest card wins.
I mean, I definitely think they could have been a bit more creative with the games. That's fair. That's okay. We got one fair criticism. There we go. How long has it taken? 9 minutes, and we got a decently fair criticism. Fair enough.
Is high.
No, Doctor, maybe you want to think about the stakes here. The human race is about to be fucking wiped from existence. This guy, just 2 seconds ago, he was saying he killed the Christian god.
I gambled with God and made him a jack-in-the-box.
Maybe you shouldn't play an entirely luck-based
Also,
game.
why is his audio now only coming out of one of my ears?
You should employ some level of strategy. Maybe you should try to win. Maybe that would be a good idea. You might as well
also,
have just said...
Doesn't he, show later on that, this is all part of his bluff? Because he sees it as, well, you won today, I won last time, so we'll have the real final game in 2023. Did you not watch the episode?
Flip a coin.
But he'll cheat.
No, shame. That's the one thing he won't do.
But they're his cards. It's all tricks. Of course he'll cheat.
The only rules the toy maker.
See, the interesting thing with this is the toy maker did cheat in the original story, which is technically a point against it, which I'm wondering if he would bring up. I don't know whether he will, but I would say that is a point against it. My kind of defense of that is that maybe the toy maker's powers work differently now that he's in like the mortal realm as opposed to his own toy maker realm. But that is something you could genuinely point out as like, I don't know, like a flaw, I guess, with the character's representation here. I'm curious to see whether he does.
Follows are the rules of the game. They bind his entire existence.
That's not entirely true. He won't cheat, but he will rig it so he can't win. In the first episode, him and William Hartnell played space chess.
Again, we have a second valid point. Cool.
And the Doctor beats his ass because, like, I think he canonically invented chess. So what the toy maker does is he rigs the pocket universe that they're playing in to immediately wipe itself from existence as soon as he loses.
You must finish the game. You cannot leave here until you have.
He's silly. He's silly. I mean, that's kind of fair. I mean, it's interesting with like toy maker. I think it mostly works. The thing is with like New Who is that they always kind of do this with like classic Who villains. They do the same thing with the Master. It's a matter of taste, really. Like I can understand why someone wouldn't like it, and that's fair enough. I think for me it largely works though because I see it as in this episode specifically, he's putting on these different accents and affectations and performances to deliberately kind of unnerve and like make people kind of like uneasy in this episode, so I think that works fine. But I mean, if you don't like the change, you don't like the change. It's fair enough, I suppose. I think it works fine, though, personally. He's goofy and he's silly.
Anyway, the Doctor loses the game, but he invokes best of 3, so they have to play another one. Oh, good. But before they can, he gets killed.
Okay, so he does mention that like he invokes best of 3, so he like is aware that the Doctor's plan was to like call his bluff there. Okay.
Bi-generates. Yeah. Summoning a black man to assist him. And then with the...
I don't like the way he said black. Like, why did he say it so, like... so charged? I don't know.
Major advantage, they choose a new game to play.
Name your challenge, Doctor.
They play catch. Yeah, catch. Again, I think they could have been more creative with the games. I don't disagree with that.
You said it. The first game ever. The ball.
Catch. Bad pick. That is a bad pick. There is no feasible way that this guy is going to lose a game of catch. He just turned a dude into a bouncy ball like 20 seconds ago. He said earlier in the episode that he beat the Christian god in a 1v1, and now he's going to lose a game of catch to 2 normal men. At a certain point, he was blowing smoke. There's no way. I feel like Jesus could have won. I feel like if I got Jesus in here, he could have won that easily. Low diff victory. Why didn't you make the ball travel at like 1,000 miles per hour? Why didn't you make it as big as the fucking moon? You could do literally anything. This is embarrassing, dude. I would have fucking folded
I mean, I definitely, I don't entirely disagree with this. I always found the kind of climax to this a little bit anticlimactic. Fair, I guess. Sure.
Up into a little box if I solved this hard too. This is fucking humiliating. Anyway, the new Doctor goes to the old Doctor, and he's like, give me all your shit, dude. Come on. You know how this works.
But I could never let the TARDIS go. Never. It would hurt.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Come on, man. Get a grip. You're coming apart.
I've only been there for 5 minutes, already shaking the man down. And the message of this episode is that...
Wait, is the joke there that he's black, therefore he's robbing him? Is that the joke? I think so. Weird. Very, very, very strange. Because like you say as well, I mean, like, every Doctor has the handover as well. And as we establish later on, he doesn't even get his TARDIS. He gets to keep his, so...
the Doctor is very sad, so he takes an indefinite holiday. I like this message because it only applies to Russell T Davies and his friends. Like, no normal person can just do that. Not applicable.
I mean, what? So the logic is, oh, Russell T Davies, you don't care about real working people. You do know that they can't take permanent holidays. It's a fictional TV show, pal. Like, I don't know. I don't know if anyone is reading it like that.
Advice at all. These specials were received okay, outside of the first one, which everybody hated. I think nostalgia.
I don't think it's necessarily true that everyone hated it. I think a couple of lines made people kind of maybe be like, oh, it's a bit cringe, or roll their eyes, or like, in some cases, make entire videos about. But, like, I think, like, 2/3 of that episode were pretty good. It's basically just, like, whenever, like, he tries to mix the political, like, the, like, message of the episode with, like, the sci-fi is where it gets a bit muddled, you know? Like, making the whole, like, binary, non-binary thing tie into the meta-crisis, even though the character wasn't really established as non-binary prior. Stuff like that, you know, I think that is fair enough. But, like, broadly, yeah, no, these specials were received pretty well. Look, I will give you credit. You did start with the stuff that was better received to begin with. I will note that we are 12 minutes in, and so far you've made about, like, 2 good points in, like, this entire video so far. Because I want to speed it up, but then I might miss a point.
I think that's the only reason they were received well. That and the fact that it was, like, marginally better than Chibnall's run. But that goodwill immediately drops off when they make Ncuti Gatwa's first episode.
Brother was the Doctor for, like, 2 years. You could just look up how to pronounce his name, man. And Shooty, it's not that hard to say. Like, would have taken 2 seconds. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Baby, we can feast. We can dine 3 days at least.
How is he getting away with playing all these clips without getting played?
I mean, this is ass. I don't think anyone thought this was good. When I saw the trailer for the anniversary episodes, I think there was like one scene with Ncuti Gatwa in, and I thought, hey, he looks pretty good. And then you watch the actual episode, and you realize he's got his dick out the whole time. I am 95% certain that Gatwa got the role because he's fucking Russell T Davies. I'm gonna be honest.
Ooh, another gay joke! Woo! Here we go. There we go. This is great.
Me a homophobe, but realistically, it's water off a duck's back. Gatwa was also a controversial pick because he's gay and not British. I mean, they say he's Scottish, but come on. Are we being serious with this? I remember when they cast him, all of the
black, therefore not British. Very, very good criticisms going on here at the moment. 180,000 views, by the way.
The retarded conservative channels were like, we're back. We're back on the right track. We're back on the right track. We're gonna
Wait, this is interesting. So, he acknowledges that the conservative channels are dumb, but then uses the exact same rhetoric as the conservative channels. So, like, where do you stand? I'm more baffled now because you've called them out.
And back in the role, woke is dead. It's a gay black man. I feel like that is fucking way worse than a white woman. I mean, before the episodes were even
way worse than a white woman. Gay black man, way worse. I mean, props to you for just saying the quiet bit out loud, you know. I got a lot of flack in the last video for saying, oh, well, it's obviously not homophobic, even though, like come on, it definitely was. What do you think they meant by it's a sickness? But at least in this case, he's like, nah, being a black gay man is worse than being a white woman, I guess.
Coming out, he was saying he wanted to twerk villains to death. They also gave him a whole new sonic screwdriver, which was a very unique design.
Yeah, I'm still not keen on it. I'm still not overly keen on it.
Unique shape compared to the other ones. Russell says it's because he didn't want it to look like a gun. I maintain it's
this point was also debunked, I think, as well. I could be wrong.
Because they didn't want Gatwa to suck on it. Russell T.
Another gay joke. I hope you keep score, everyone.
Davis's vision.
The thing is, I think what annoys me about videos like this, right, is that there are a lot of, like, genuinely, like, fair criticisms you can make of this era. And I am not for a second saying you can't make them. There are videos that I've watched that have had criticisms I've gone, you know what, absolutely fair enough. I've made videos saying about how much I was disappointed by the various finales of this era, or, you know, stuff like that, or how I don't really feel that the format is right for the show in the modern day, or, like, how I think Space Babies was the wrong choice to open season 1. But there are things you can say about this era, but instead it's just, he's gay, or he's black, or they said trans once. And that's it.
Season of Doctor Who, famous sci-fi show, was fuck the sci-fi. We're just gonna make it all fantasy now. So the villains are.
I mean, the thing is, like, this is another thing that always kind of baffles me about, like, this specific criticism. Doctor Who has never been hard sci-fi. It's not really like Trek in that way. Like, it's always been a bit more kind of loosey-goosey with its rules. Even going back to the 60s, you would have stories like, you know, obviously, like The Celestial Toymaker, for example, or like The Mind Robber, or like Planet of Giants, these stories that are way more kind of, like, out there and, like, less scientifically based than Star Trek, which at least tries to keep more of a foundation in science, from what I understand anyway, whereas Doctor Who has always been a bit more loosey-goosey. Now, you could grant that maybe RTD2 went a bit too far in the other direction, and to which I would say fair enough if that's what your opinion on that is. But I think it's weird when people say that Doctor Who's like a hard sci-fi thing when it just isn't really. Like, at least in my opinion, very rarely has it ever been that. Like, the most popular episode of Tom Baker's era is an alien who is trying to sell fake versions of the Mona Lisa. Like, and that's like the most popular Tom Baker episode. I don't know whether like this show is always taking itself seriously with the science. I can't believe.
Based technology, and then there's a big fat one that eats babies. Russell T Davies was also heavily inspired by the Star Wars sequels, you know, the ones everybody liked, and Marvel movies.
I mean, no, he specifically said he didn't like the way Rise of Skywalker handled it, but liked the way Last Jedi did. As for the Marvel comparison, like, you gotta bear in mind, when Russell was putting this era together, they were still, like, well received and liked at the time. Now, a bit different, but when he was formulating his era, Marvel was the biggest thing at the world. At that point, it still kind of is. So, I don't necessarily think trying to take some inspiration from that was, like, a bad idea. I think it's more the execution rather than anything else.
So he incorporates a mystery box, the J.J. Abrams mystery box that has literally never once worked in the history of cinema. So the new companion, Ruby, her mother is a mysterious cloaked figure who is so important that her daughter can literally warp reality. This has a very exciting and worthwhile payoff. Her other mother is a fat black tax scrounger. Other than
yeah, so just more racism, I guess. Like, again, it just frustrates me because, like, you can make points about this show without just resorting to that. You know, like, you're not completely incapable of it. Like, you did make a couple points earlier. I'm like, yeah, kind of fair enough. I can kind of see that. But no, like, you find it much easier to just go full grift mode and go full, well, she's a black woman tax dodger. Like, okay. Also, is, like, being a foster mother not, like, quite a good thing to do? Like, I don't know.
in this, Ruby has no character, other than the fact that she was raised by a black woman, which doesn't seem to have any...
Look at how he says the word black. Why does he say it like that? Why does he say it like that?
any effect on her personality, which I think is very unreal.
He says it like he's about to, like, throw up anytime he says the word. It's kind of weird.
A blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girl being raised by an African? She shouldn't be alive. The Doctor...
What? What? She shouldn't be alive? I don't even know what to say about that.
Wins in this episode by using a pair of power gloves, which to the untrained eye look like bargain bin gloves. And then he uses them to impale the King Goblin onto a fucking church spire. When I first saw this, I said that's pretty hard character for the Doctor. Pretty brutal way of killing a villain. But maybe they're taking this Doctor in a new direction. Maybe this Doctor is per capita more violent than the other ones. In the previous...
Oh, okay, so the joke there is black people are more violent. I mean, also, I think it's a fair point to raise that, like, that was quite a brutal way of getting rid of him. But then you kind of just undercut your point by going, I'm doing a race joke again.
In his run, Chris Chibnall looked at the established lore of the show and said, William Hartnell, the first Doctor stealing the TARDIS, the time machine? That doesn't really make any sense. So what he did is he went back and he retconned it so that William Hartnell, he didn't actually steal the TARDIS. It was actually a black woman the whole time. Chris Chibnall...
Why does he say... I think I'm just going to have to get over the fact that that's how he says black. But why does he say it with, like, such, like a sort of, I don't know, like a sort of venom in his voice.
You genius. So maybe in the next episode, Russell T Davies will have this Doctor steal someone's bike or something. At this point, Davies has had two chances.
Again, we're doing more racism. Black people steal, guys. You know that?
To introduce this new era of the show, and both of them were shit. But he has one final chance in episode 1 of season 1 of the whole new Doctor Who. He's like rebranded it as a new thing. Disney's involved. I don't know how he pulled this one off. He's managed to essentially scam Disney into funding this. This is what's going to get people hooked into the new era of the show.
Oh. Yeah, I will say Space Babies was the wrong choice, but I'm curious to see. Okay, what's the betting? He makes a joke about the Doctor being an absentee father because he's black.
Everyone back to work. Show Mummy and Daddy what a good job we've been doing. Make them proud.
Russell, you've gone insane. What were you thinking? You're telling me no one spoke up? The producers, the actors, nobody spoke up about this travesty? This is like Harvey Weinstein, but worse. This episode is...
What? Well, I think bro just says out-of-pocket things, even when, like, they don't make any sense to the context of the conversation he's having.
There's also an abortion allegory.
So, the planet down below will refuse to stop the babies being born, but once they're born, they don't look after them.
It's a very strange planet.
Which I think is quite brave when you have the babies in it as characters. So the message is basically, we should have killed these babies when we...
Well, no, the message is you, like, don't force people to have babies if you're part of a society that deliberately doesn't want to give them any support to have them. Not kill the babies? Okay, whatever.
You had the chance. The
thing is, this is like the most easy political concept to grasp, and he's struggling with this.
Bogeyman.
And so it grew the bogeyman out of bogies.
What?
All of this is bogies.
Good job, Russell. No one stopped him. Nobody stopped him. I like how it pulls them against the wall instead of out the open door. That's what happens when you let Indians invent your gravity. You might have thought that...
Indian joke now? I don't know, man. What do you want me to say?
The abortion allegory was heavy-handed and dumb, but wait until they hit you with the asylum seeker...
It was heavy-handed, but you still didn't seem to grasp it.
Allegory.
Dubai Duplessis is a star-wide organization. It means they can take in lots of refugees.
Oh, do you get it? Refugees are all violent.
Hello, would you like to withdraw money? Printing money.
Oh, well, can't we call...
I find it, like, so sad that this has clearly, like, had some effort put into it. This isn't, like, the usual schlock that we see from, like, the right-wing channels. Like, this guy can clearly edit, you know, and, like, he's made, like, one or two decent points, and he's got much better delivery than some of the other people that we've looked at, but, like, he's wasting it on the most, like, lowest common denominator tripe I've seen.
Them for help?
They don't go fetch refugees. That's the fate of every refugee in the universe. You physically have to turn up on someone else's shore.
So what's the message here, Russell? That the Western government should kidnap people from Sudan? They should take the immigrants...
Very funny to use a clip of Trump when you're talking about kidnapping people, but I'll leave that there.
From Pakistan using military force? Now, you might be looking at these last few episodes thinking, Russell, it's too gay. Tone it down, Russell. But no, Russell determined that it wasn't gay enough. It wasn't up to his personal homosexual standard.
Oh, gosh. Oh, goodness me.
This is our new top villain. Daleks, Weeping Angels? Shit. Get rid of them. The Maestro is our new top guy. The further you get into this series, the more it seems like Russell was just trying to fulfill some sort of, like, homosexual fantasy. First you had all the trans stuff, then the Kuti Gatwa was cast.
If you don't mind, I just got snowman.
No one would ever, like, see this and go, oh yeah, that's what snowman means. If anything, I think the fact that you knew this and put this in your video is more a reflection on your personal fantasies than his. I'm not gonna lie! Because I do not look at the word snowman and go, oh yes, it means this.
Now you got this shit. No one's ever asked me to step back from writing queerness into the series. It doesn't even feel particularly queer to me. It just feels natural. He adds, this is the world, and it's 2024. We're all embracing this. Who the fuck is we, bro? We're all embracing this. This is my world. And I'm trusted by my bosses to put my world and to put my writing on the screen, so I confidently do. This is not the world, Russell. The rest of us aren't living 10 doors down from an orgy, Russell. The actor for Maestro chimed in on...
I like the idea that, like, every like, I mean, it's just another series where every gay person is just constantly, like, wanting sex all the time. And, like, there's nothing else to their personality ever. It's just that. Like,
this topic as well, saying, numbers are not shrinking. They were. For every transphobic, racist, bigoted Doctor Who fan that we lose this season, there are going to be 3 to 5 new fans who are coming in for the representation. So they didn't show up. So they didn't show up. You need to get those Nazis back, Russell. The Nazis were keeping this ship afloat. You really need those Nazis back on side. I remember when Chibnall had the female Doctor defeat the Indian Master by teaming up with the Nazis and having him...
They did do that. That was wild. That was wild that they did. That's wild that made it to screen. I'm not gonna lie. That was insane.
To Auschwitz.
Perception filter. Very easy to jam. Now we'll see the real you.
I say what you want about Chibnall, but he knew who his audience were.
How about that? How about that?
I think this guy might not like black people very much. I don't know what's giving me that impression. You know, it's. The thing is, people are gonna watch this video and ironically come into my comments and go, "Nah, you're reaching." Now, there's nothing about this that, that feels racist in any way.
The black hands of my wife.
Let's say
180,000 views, by the way. I keep repeating that.
You're gearing the show towards a queer audience, whatever. If you look at the numbers of queers, gays, facts, it actually lines up with the fallen viewing figures. The thing about the LGBT is that they're a massive minority, and that's not even counting that the L in LGBT doesn't even exist. They're all faking. And look, people aren't going to admit it, but normal people...
Lesbian joke now? Bro's just going for everyone.
People don't like gays. It makes them very uncomfortable. It's been scientifically...
That's not good. And if anything, media should be trying to challenge that.
Proven that two men kissing evokes the same reaction of disgust in normal people as seeing a pile of maggots. So...
And, like, I can't say it does. Like, I can't say I care. Am I crazy? I can't say it bothers me at all.
Well, maybe you shouldn't gear your entire flagship sci-fi show around something that disgusts most people. Maybe that's a bad idea. Go back to being spiritually gay.
Also, again, no homophobia here, saying that people aren't as disgusted by gay kisses as maggots. But, you know, I'm sure I'm reaching by saying that there's like a homophobic undercurrent to these videos, right?
Being actually gay. Let me sum up the episode quickly, because I don't give a fuck about this one. Maestro makes music illegal, so no one can do it anymore.
This is your home if Maestro isn't stopped.
So not that bad then. Just normal London conditions, really.
Where's my mom?
Okay, that's decently funny. I feel like this guy just does the thing that I hate in YouTube videos as well, of, oh, I haven't got a point, let me real quick replace it with a meme. And that'll be in the place of a point.
Such a powerful villain get defeated? Well, let me tell you. World-famous band The Beatles, made up of course of John Lennon and Paul McCartney, and no one else. The BBC
kind of
could
funny
not
that
remember the other members of the Beatles. They show up, and they play some notes floating above a piano, and then that kills the maestro, and then all of the middle-aged Asian women living in 1960s London, they can rejoice knowing that...
Does he not know that, like, Asian people did exist in, like, London in the 60s, okay?
Music has returned to their lives. The next episode is called Stephen Moffat Hates Religion, parentheses, strictly Christians.
Never criticize Muslims. Only Christians.
In an interview about this episode, Stevie Moffat says that after a family tragedy, someone said thoughts and prayers to him, and that filled him with so much rage that he decided to write an episode
Let
of
me
Doctor
read the
Who
actual
to him,
quote.
And that
because I do not trust the way
Moffat
that he is
says that
interpreting
after a family tragedy, someone...
Because I want people to stop saying it, it is witless, it is appalling that in the face of someone's genuine tragedy and traumatic loss, you trot out a stock phrase. What's the matter with you? Thoughts and prayers? How about, you said money? I mean, how about you said help? How about you said something? Thoughts and prayers is never mind, oh well. I think the point he's making isn't, how dare you use a religious phrase in front of me, more so just that it comes across as kind of like fake and bottled and kind of like that just kind of empty platitude that people give. Like, it's like the same as like my condolences. It's like, well, what does that, you know, like, I get what people mean because it's like, it's just kind of very, very, it's impersonal. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's what he was saying more so than Christianity le bad, I guess, but sure.
Said thoughts and prayers to him, and that filled him with so much rage that he decided to write an episode of Doctor Who with the intention of making the phrase thoughts and prayers into the new Heil Hitler. So the villain is an evil ambulance, right? Which is controlled by an evil corporation. And all of the dumb, retard Christians are fighting mud because the corporation made up a fake war.
You declared war on an empty planet. There are no Castarians in the mud. They're not in the fog.
When would a group of people ever declare war on something that turned out to not exist? That's never happened before. That's a wild stretch of the imagination right there. Also, you gotta activate Windows, bro. What's going on there?
No Castarians. I mean, most armies would notice that they were fighting smoke and shadows, but not this lot, Ruby. You know why? Because they have faith. Shut up! Faith! The magic word...
Also, isn't the point of this that the Doctor is proved wrong in the end? That, like, there is a place for faith at the end of this episode? Like, isn't that the whole moral?
You never having to think for yourself.
I love the evil corporation shit. It's like the most virtue signaling villain of all time. It's a perfect villain.
Wait, so we can't do evil corporations anymore because they're virtue signaling? Again, Doctor Who never done an evil corporation before, and that's not an incredibly common sci-fi trope.
Because it means you don't have to call out private banking. Why are housing prices going up? You know what? Probably because Elon Musk has too much personal income, and not because Lloyd's Bank is buying up 50,000 houses and chucking them all in the rental market to diversify their income. But nah, dude, we gotta go after the yachts. We gotta go after the yachts, not the guys who are trying to monopolize food and housing. Keen viewers may think it's out.
Why can't we do both?
Character for the Doctor to hate the religious when he was canonically friends with the Pope. However, the Doctor has always canonically hated the religious, especially Muslims.
This is Jahannam. You're a Muslim. Don't be frightened.
So the concept of this episode is very simple. We've got a budget of $50. So what we're going to do, we're going to make Ncuti Gatwa stand in a hole for 50 minutes whilst a randomly generated episode happens around him. And at a certain point, this episode is just a pantomime. Like a guy goes down there, he dies, the Doctor hears him dying, so he goes down and gets trapped. Then the guy's girlfriend shows up. Then the guy's 9-year-old daughter shows up in this war zone.
You okay?
Well, they make a point of why she's there, right? Like, they say that, like, you shouldn't be out here, but, she went on with her dad, right? So, like, that's even commented on in the episode. Again, it feels like this guy just got, like, a Wikipedia summary of these episodes and went, Ferb, I know what we're going to do today, and just went for it, with no, like, kind of actual points to make beyond that.
You need help?
I'm looking for my daddy.
I also think this episode is really good at showing Ncuti Gatwa being really shit. This guy is like woefully fucking miscast. He cannot do it
That's
at
kind
all.
of wild, because I think this is one of his best performances in the role, so in this case, I just don't agree. Like,
much bigger bang than you.
I really think that Moffat's writing actually, like, really suited Gatwa quite a bit, and I wish we could have seen more of him writing Gatwa, to be honest.
I'm a lot more explosive than I look, and honey, I know how I look. Put a quantum chain reaction through me and I will shatter this silly little battlefield of yours into dust. All of it. In a heartbeat. Into dust.
When the episodes were first coming out, people were saying...
Just a perfectly fine line delivery, I don't know.
Oh my god, Ncuti Gatwa is so good. He has the energy, the happy energy. I mean, Capaldi could do that and he's Scottish, alright? Eccleston could do it and he's from the north. Clearly anyone can do it. Have you ever seen Eccleston in an interview? He's a real miserable fuck.
Sack Russell T Davies.
It's called acting. But when Gatwa has to be intimidating or imposing or project some level of presence in any way, it's not very good. At the end of the day, it comes down to a simple fact. The man is too gay to play the role. Maybe if they made him more of a...
Bloody hell. I don't even know what to say to that, man. What do you want me to say to that? Also, he does know that, like, there's a lot of gay people in, like, the acting profession, right? Like, a lot of people who are gay, who play straight and play it very well. Russell Tovey just recently did it in War Between. And, like, he's one of the most convincing people I've ever seen do it. You watch him in War Between or him and her, I genuinely didn't know he was gay until, like, you know, a couple of years later. He's that good at it.
Sexual predator, it would have worked. You know, he's threatening to, like, rape a Dalek. That would have...
What the fuck? Hang on, can we hear that again?
At the end of the day, it comes down to a simple fact. The man is too gay to play the role. Maybe if they made him more of a sexual predator, it would have worked. You know, he's threatening to, like, rape a Dalek. That would have been intimidating.
What the fuck?
Would have been intimidated by a black man raping me. And that would also be the first instance of sexual violence in Doctor Who, which the fans have been asking for years. Now, this is a classic episode where we really get to see the personal life of new companion Ruby Sunday. So her and the Doctor go to Wales, and he steps into an evil fairy trap and disappears. And for the rest of the episode, a creepy old woman stands in the distance watching her. And every time someone goes and talks to her, they get scared and run away. Even her black mother, which to be fair could be unrelated, it's unclear. And then a Welsh guy gets elected Prime Minister on the basis that he's going to nuke India.
I am a son of Wales. I want Great Britain to say no more, so yes, I have pledged to defend our borders and set us up on...
Honestly, the most unrealistic thing about this episode is that, like, the whole of the UK would elect a Welsh nationalist. That's, like, the most unrealistic thing about this episode.
I as one of the greatest nations in the world.
But we're members of NATO.
When did NATO ever, fire a nuclear missile? Ever?
This is supposed to be the bad guy? So Ruby joined...
Yes. Incredibly funny to say this given current world events as well, by the way. This actually aged incredibly well, actually. I just realised. Everyone said that, like, Roger William was, like, incredibly cartoonish for just wanting to, like, nuke territories and seize them for no reason. Doesn't seem that out of place now, does it?
On as this guy's like personal slave. Also, he's a rapist. And before he can nuke India, Ruby ruins everything because she uses her old woman powers to force him to resign as prime minister.
Oh, we were right there, man!
Which is not how the old woman powers have been explained at all. They don't make people resign from their jobs, they make people run away. Specifically,
the point is he ran away in fear and didn't go back to it. Like, he was so scared that he fled. I don't know, again, that's weird criticism time. Again, there's criticisms you can make of 73 yards. Like, there's points you can make against it. But, like, he picks the weirdest ones.
Unless you want to argue that Ruby has wormed her way so deeply into this leadership campaign that she cannot be excised, like an inoperable cancer, sort of like a Zia Yusuf-esque figure. There's no point discussing it, to be honest. I put more thought into this than the writers have. There's a cut forward in time, and Ruby is an old woman lamenting on her pointless chud life. Then the old woman appears in the room. Oh no! And it turned out she was the old woman the whole time. Then it goes back to the start of the episode, and she's like, don't step on that fairy shrine. And
oh god, I just realised Dot and Bubbles next. Good lord, what is he going to say about that?
And that's it. That's the episode. Who put the fairy shrine down? I don't know. Probably some fucking coming over here, putting people in fucking time loops and shit.
Did he just say what I think he just said? Nothing surprises me anymore. I don't even know why I'm actually surprised anymore.
The fans were saying it's actually the fear of the unknown. You don't need to know the details of what the fuck was even happening. On a rewatch, oh my god, it's so much better on a rewatch. I'm not rewatching this. This is an episode about
I mean, I see it personally as, like, the woman is a reflection of, like, Ruby's fear of abandonment. That's what I see it as, anyway, but sure.
Woman making a man resign from his job and then dying alone. That's literally what happened here. It's a tale as old as time. Would it make more sense for the old woman to be saying, like, get away instead of don't step? That would explain why everyone ran off, at least. You could say it's some psychic suggestion shit. This is 100% a first draft. I cannot possibly believe that it's not. This is the episode where shit starts.
This video doesn't even feel like a first draft. It feels like you just turned on a microphone and went for it.
So I'm going to do a full rundown of this one. Spoiler alert, this episode has a genius twist. Russell T Davies is back. The episode starts off in a futuristic neighborhood, and our protagonist of the episode is this woman. She's called, like, Rodney Popadom or something, I don't remember. She wakes up and immediately starts watching TikTok.
5 seconds of research, like...
and FaceTiming people. So immediately you can establish that this is going to be some Black Mirror retard situation. Then all of a sudden the doctor pops up and Rodney's like,
"You were right, sir."
So she goes to work and guess what she encounters? That's right, giant slug. Crazy shit. As it turns out, these giant slugs were created by tiny robots because they're trying to wipe out humanity. Now, admittedly, the episode makes it perfectly clear that the robots are completely capable of killing people. Probably easier than the slugs can, but it's more fun this way.
That is a fair point, actually. Like, the little droids do seem way more effective than the slugs. That's a fair point. The third fair point has hit the video, ladies and gentlemen.
It's more entertaining.
It took us, what, like, he didn't really make a single good point about space babies, Devil's Cord, Boom, or 73 Yards. All episodes which I think are capable of being criticised, but we finally got there, I guess.
way. This is where the episode really starts getting genius. Rodney can't walk because on the social media device, it has like arrows tell them what direction that they're supposed to walk in, and without it, they can't walk.
I don't know how to walk.
What do you mean?
I don't know how to walk without the arrows.
You don't know how to walk?
Without the arrows.
But thankfully, with the assistance of a gay porn star that Russell T Davies presumably wanted to fuck, she manages to escape from all the slugs. Then we get a genius twist, you see.
God, it's so tiring. Get a second joke, man. My God.
You may have noticed during this episode that this society is too clean. There's not enough trash on the streets. There's not enough crime.
No. Oh my God. Oh no. I should have known it'd be something like this.
That's when it gets revealed. They killed all of the Browns and then immediately made a utopic, perfect society. And then
Utopia is when like people are so detached from reality that they can't walk without a screen in front of them and live in their own echo chambers. I mean, you know what? In all fairness, he probably does think that. So I don't even know I'm questioning it.
And they all refuse the Doctor's help because he's black.
We couldn't travel with you.
Why not?
Because you, sir, are not one of us.
And they'd rather live in the woods. Russell T Davies, Eugenius. I've seen this type of narrative play out shit tons of times in media, and it's every single time they portray society as being like vastly better, and everyone as being more.
He's showing a clip of Man in the High Castle, by the way. I knew it immediately because I'm a big. Side note: I'm a big nerd for alternate history fiction and dystopia fiction. So I knew immediately that he was showing Man in the High Castle. If you think the world of Man in the High Castle is a utopia, I think you're lost, Mike. I don't know what else to say at that point.
Happy? You'd think if multiracialism was such a boon, then everyone would be miserable without the Browns, right? They never put forward a tangible benefit.
Oh yes, because when I think about Man in the High Castle, I think about how joyous and happy everyone is under that regime.
Moral requirement. You need to suffer for the sake of the Brown.
Also, evidently in Dot and Bubble, people aren't truly happy. They're just like living in an echo chamber bubble where their life is just substituted by like meaningless noise.
This transaction, other than a feeling of pride. When your young daughter gets raped or killed by some third world Brown, you can take pride knowing that you allowed this to happen.
That reveal at the end of the ep, it was heartbreaking. You probably do realise it in the ep, but it's the moment when we look around and everyone is white, and you're just like, ah.
What? What? No Somalians? Don't tell me. No Indians? I'm gonna vomit.
What we can't tell is how many people will have worked that out before the ending, because they've seen white person after white person after white person. And television these days is very diverse. I wonder, will you be 10 minutes into it? Will you be 15? Will you be 20? Before you start to think everyone in this community is white? And if you don't think that, why didn't you?
Yeah, why didn't you? You fucking racist. You need to live with the default expectation anytime you go out. Anytime you watch a TV show, you will be immediately harassed by a black.
Jesus Christ. I also just love the implication that, like, white people never do crimes. White people never done a crime, never done anything wrong. And we would live in, like, perfect society if like, non-white people didn't exist. Like, bruh, how do you be this delusional? Genuinely, like, get some help. Why does this have 180,000 views? Like, what are the...
There's no break.
Hang on, I'm gonna have a look what the like to dislike ratio is on this. Yep, 11,000. Jesus Christ. Patreon, more videos. Go now, go. No, I don't think I will. We'll read the comments later. Bloody hell. I can see why you guys wanted me to talk about this one now.
It's a never-ending social contract we forced you into. Get used to it. I'm gonna be honest. I couldn't even be bothered to watch this one. This is the final one. We're almost done here.
I'm not convinced you watched any of it.
Now, fair warning, nobody liked this episode. Even the people who endlessly defend the show hated this. This episode answers all of the series-long mystery boxes. Who is this old woman who keeps showing up? Why does Ruby keep making it snow everywhere?
Guys, can we get through an entire episode segment without a race joke? I'm gonna challenge him to it.
I tell you, it's really satisfying and not at all terrible. The Doctor arrives at the budget Avengers Tower and is immediately filled with fear when witnessing this 6'4", 250-pound fucking caveman blundering towards him.
Does that count? I'm saying that probably counts, but... Jesus
In the old days
Christ.
of the show, UNIT was a paramilitary organization. All of its members were military. But now they're just the Avengers. But instead of the Hulk, it's a black transgender woman.
Also, like, they were more of a scientific organization as well. Like, they weren't just a paramilitary. Like, that was part of it, but they were also, like, Doctor was the chief scientific advisor. They were, like, a paramilitary mixed with, like, a scientific organization as well. Like, that's always been there. Okay.
And instead of Iron Man, it's a disabled midget.
And I'm Morris Gibbons, Unit Scientific Advisor, 13 years old, accelerated genius.
I don't know how much longer I can do this.
Did the passing asteroid make you cripplingly disabled as well, or is that unrelated? So the Doctor tells UNIT that they need to find the modern-day Susan Twist. But UNIT have already found her, because she runs a company that's name is an anagram of TARDIS. And there's no way that's a coincidence, so we're going to spend millions and millions of pounds in taxpayer money to get to the bottom of this one.
Name, anagram, TARDIS, probability of a track, 95% and rising.
95%? Where the fuck are you getting these numbers from, dude? Are you telling me if she was just called Susan, then the chance of a trap would be 40%? I feel like the fact that she's appearing across all time zones makes it a 100% chance. But no, that doesn't even factor into his calculations. It's the Susan and then the anagram, and that's it.
Don't they find that out after he does this line? I don't know. His criticisms, like, he's had, like, 3 mildly okay criticisms, and then the rest of it has just been variations on black, gay, and trans jokes. Sometimes, you know, with the odd bit of a disabled joke thrown in there as well.
All of the other shit doesn't even factor in. Chances of someone being both called Susan and their company's an anagram of TARDIS? Impossible. It's a trap. 95% confirmed. So another UNIT person gets a DNA sample from Susan and determines that she's
doesn't even
100%
mention that it's
human.
Mel.
But Kate, the leader, she's got a chrysalis theory. So
Kate's got a chrysalis theory.
Just because Susan tried is nice doesn't mean she can't change.
you know, it's like, fucking who cares about DNA testing? Makes you wonder why they did the DNA test anyway. Now, the entire time that they're doing this, Ruby is in the background with her black mother. She's here. She's here for some reason. And Ruby's spending the entire time going, where is my white mother? Where is my white mother? So in order to...
God, he's so obsessed with it. Like, he can't... He says that, like, everyone else is obsessed with it. And then, like... That's all this video is.
Find out who Ruby's white mother is. They have to utilize the power of a time machine which runs entirely off of VHS tapes. That's right.
It doesn't. It's a time window that projects the past. Why am I even...
I don't know. There you
what
go.
am I doing?
I think the writers didn't even
Man,
fucking care, to be honest.
So this room charges up using the entire nuclear output of Europe and projects an image from the past, like 3D history.
Europe just lets you do that? Europe doesn't let you fish. Europe doesn't let you have a nation. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it...
Bloody hell. I wonder who this guy supports.
Why that the EU would just do that. A couple 100,000 Germans are going to have to go without electricity for the next couple weeks. They need to give it to foreigners so they can watch fucking Independence Day on VHS. So they power up the VCR time machine to try and get a look at Ruby's mother, but they can't see it because she's wearing the Emperor's cloak, okay? She's wearing the Emperor's cloak, so they can't see it. And then she starts pointing directly at the Doctor, and they're like, oh my god, why is she pointing at the Doctor? This is such a mystery that's definitely going to have a good payoff.
Can she see us?
I don't think she can, but you can't move.
Like, yeah, this was dumb, but at this point, I don't even want to give him credit because it's like the rest of it has just been so nothing. Like, yeah, anyone could point out that this was dumb. Is this what constitutes good content?
Is there anything there?
Colonel Chidozi, you will return to your position.
Just see if there's anything there.
Doctor, you said not to move.
I know. But just look.
You can fucking go, mate. Come on. You can move. And then he does, and he just fucking dies instantaneously. It's not even 2 seconds. He's walking for 2 seconds, and then he just instantly fucking dies. What the fuck am I watching, dude? What the fuck am I watching?
It's just a guy on a mobility, like, aid.
Doctor, can I ask?
Morris, a second, please.
No, I'm sorry, I've got to ask. What is that?
Red's just playing the scene now at this point.
Nobody fucking noticed that. He was the only dude who noticed that.
I'm genuinely asking, how can these videos stay up? Like, not only are they, like, riddled with just, like, outward racism and, like, borderline, like, Nazi shit, but also, like, he has, like, played, like, 20-second clips with, like, no commentary over them. Meanwhile, like, the only thing I can get away with playing in my videos will be, like, trailers before the BBC launches, like, a copyright claim. I'm baffled.
Sorry, what is that massive, ginormous, totally unmissable dark cloud of death that's rising out of the fucking background? So Doctor then starts having a little cry over this one, so much so that his own assistant has to tell him to stop being a fat before leaving to fuck around with Susan Triad. Then Unit realise, oh my god, the dark cloud of death is still in the building.
The Doctor, we're on our way back. Try to contain that thing.
I bring Sutek's dust.
Open fire! All weapons!
This might be the worst review I've ever seen. It's just like occasional race jokes mixed in with 20-second long clips with no commentary, and then like once in a blue moon he'll say something vaguely like worth criticizing.
Out and off bullshit, and they all go, who is this? Who is this woman? What is this woman's name? Oh, this woman? Oh, that's Harriet Arbinger of... Fucking hell, that's so shit. That's Harriet Arbinger, of course. You don't know Harriet Arbinger? So Susan turns into like a bird, and then she kills her assistant, and they play like a stock shock effect number 2. I think it's called... I've got the actual name of the effect. It's called stock shock effect number 3, actually. It's number 3, sorry. And then all of the letters on the company name, they start changing. And the Doctor goes, oh my god. Got the wrong anagram. Susan Technology, Sutek. Sutek.
It was the wrong anagram.
It's not even a fucking anagram.
See, that is true, and I agree that that's dumb, but again, it's like, everyone has pointed that out. Every single person I know has pointed out that this is not an anagram.
It's a play on fucking words. It's not even a good one. This is on the same level as Nick Gers. Let's get down to brass tacks here.
Bro, he can't go a sentence without bringing it up.
Russell set up this group called the Pantheon. They're all meant to be gods. Shit idea. Sucks. Get rid of it. It wouldn't be
I think the idea is fine. Like, it's just the execution.
If he'd created original characters for it. But instead of this, he takes a bunch of completely unrelated characters from old seasons of the show with completely unique origins and gimmicks, and he shoves them all into this new pantheon, which has the double effect.
I mean, a pantheon has been said to exist as far back as, like, the RTD1 era, but sure. Like, obviously, this is, like, an expansion of it, but, like, yeah. And I guess you could argue that, like, putting Sutek in it is kind of weird, given that he was an Osiran, not necessarily a god, sure, but, like, I don't know whether I'm really that invested in your Doctor Who credentials at this point, given everything else you've said in this video.
Of making the character more boring, and also not making any sense. Like, what do the Toymaker and Sutek and the Trickster have in common, whatsoever?
Sutek I'll give you, but the Toymaker and the Trickster, I don't know, they seem like they would get on pretty well. Like, both of them revolve around playing games with their, like, enemies and kind of, like, manipulating the world around them. Like, I don't know, I think both of those make kind of sense as part of the same gang. Sutek, I will give you, is kind of, like, a bit out there, but also, in fairness, does he do the laugh? I don't think he does. So, the impression I always got was that, like, Sutek was the one that even, like, the Pantheon didn't want to mess with, right? Because the Toymaker's like, oh, the one who waits. I saw it and I ran. So, like, the implication I always had was that, like, Sutek was too bad even for the Toymaker and whoever else to deal with. I don't know. Weird.
And usually in mythology, they're related by blood, or they're all fucking each other, or both. I mean, previous pantheons that have been in the show have been connected in some way. I mean, the Eternals, they were all the same species, but in this pantheon, there's no relation. The Toymaker is some kind of like...
Also there are, though, because the Toymaker and Maestro are directly related. So even your point there about, oh, well, in ancient mythology, it's often the case that gods are related, that is true of at least 2 of them. I don't know about Lux. So I know that Lux is aware of, like, the Toymaker. I don't know that he's related to... I don't think he's related directly, but... and then, like, Sutek, I will grant, is the one that's the most out there, but even then, I don't know whether he's in the Pantheon the same way the others are, from the way he's spoken about.
Dimensional thing, and then they turned him into the god of toys. The Trickster is supposed to be the physical manifestation of the universal concept of chaos, and they made him into the god of traps. I mean, why?
Is he called the God of Chaos in Sarah Jane? Like, the Trickster's whole thing has been trapped for, like, ages. Also, the Trickster was in Russell's first era, so I feel like he's allowed to do it. Like, maybe you could argue that, like, changing villains from, like, Classic Who is, like, there's more of a grey area there, because at the end of the day, he didn't come up with those. But, like, the Trickster, I mean, I think it, to be fair, I don't know whether it was his in creation, but it was in his era, and he probably would have overseen, like, the creation of him. So, I don't know.
I'm not the god of tricks, man. His name is the fucking Trickster. And Sutekh isn't even a god, he's just like a psychic alien. And admittedly, he was a powerful one. But
I agree. I agree that he's the most, like, weird one to fit into this, but also, even then, by, like, this, like, logic, he's not seen as, like, the same as the others in the context of the episodes. Like, I think it's a fair point to say that, like, Sutekh shouldn't really be a god. Like, that's not what he was originally. But at the same time, like, again, I struggle to give them any credit because your lack of knowledge of the show previously to this has been so, like, astounding that I struggle to really believe that you actually care about this that deeply, to be honest.
Fucking alien. Also, the Trickster was also previously on a pantheon.
The meeting of the Pantheon of Discord and the last of the Time Lords.
Did he just fucking retcon that shit? Or, I mean, you wrote that, dude.
I mean, my sort of kind of implication of that is that they were kind of, like, all the same thing. But I mean, yeah, I guess it's a bit sloppy, but, like, my lord, you know, Doctor Who gets retconned slightly, like the name of a pantheon gets changed. That's the least of this show's, like, retcons, man.
Russell, you wrote this. You specifically wrote into the show that this guy's on a fucking pantheon already. And if they are the same pantheon, I mean, you're telling me that the some sort of, like, chaos-based entity? I mean, the whole point of the previous pantheon, the Trickster's pantheon, was that they turned order into chaos, and then they, like, jerked off over the results. They went back in time and they changed...
Does the Toymaker not also do that? Bringing childlike games into, like... in the Giggles case, at least, bringing childlike games into reality and, like, watching them for his own amusement. Does he not directly tie into that as well?
Stuff to fuck with it. Yeah, in the Trickster's first appearance, he fights off alien invasions personally, because aliens destroying Earth isn't chaotic enough, and instead he wants an asteroid to destroy the Earth instead.
Never mind the Bane. What about the Slovene and the Gorgons and the Patriarchs of the Tin Vagabond? I stopped them all from taking over the Earth. What happened to them?
I turned them all away. All I need is the meteor.
Why? What's so special about that?
Those other species, they invade for profit, power, revenge. The meteor is pure chaos. The destruction of the Earth for no reason at all. Just blind chance.
But this guy's cool with Sutekh personally killing everyone in the universe. Why would Sutekh even be the leader of this pantheon anyway? He seems way weaker than the Toymaker. I do not buy for a second that the
yeah,
Toymaker
it's true. They did do a
of...
better job of showing the Toymaker's power in, like, this era than they did Sutekh's. One of my biggest issues with Sutekh in this finale is just that he doesn't really do much. Like, yeah, he destroys, like, the like, universe, but even then, it's kind of his minions that do that. Like, I think they could have made him do some way cooler stuff, so I agree with that.
Sutekh, but not the Christian god. Even if you want to argue that Sutekh is really smart and would easily outsmart him and win the game, which he wouldn't because he wasn't very smart, both of them get outsmarted by the guy he's playing the game with right now. You should have just made it the Valiard, alright? If you made it the Valiard, it would have made a lot more sense.
Also, this guy's not the Valiard.
Just don't want to have the first Black Doctor be the one that's also evil. Now, Sutekh is a very old...
Bro can't go one point without bringing it up.
Old Doctor Who villain. Originally, he wasn't a dog. He had like a pharaoh-themed design, but they made him a dog instead because otherwise it's cultural appropriation. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, I never understood what was all that Egyptian stuff.
Cultural appropriation.
We can't.
I took that more as a joke than actual, like, point against pyramids, but okay.
I'll be having that. His original backstory is that he's a psychic alien who tried to genocide his own species. So they took his powers away and locked him in a pyramid. Sutekh's whole deal is that he wants to kill everyone, and he can realistically do it, so the Doctor's win condition in the episode is that he has to kill Sutekh before he gets any of his powers back. And the way Sutekh gets his powers back is by leaving the pyramid that he's in. So what the Doctor does in the episode is that the portal that Sutekh is going to use to leave his pyramid, he makes the travel time of the portal last forever, and then Sutekh dies of old age.
I moved the threshold of a time-space tunnel into the far future. He could never have reached the end.
But Russell retcons it, so now he actually survived by grabbing onto the TARDIS, and he's been there the whole time, which is retarded because a lot of shit has happened since then. There was an episode where the TARDIS literally blows up. There was an episode where it gets shrunk. There's an episode where the TARDIS is AI.
Also, I know he like keeps using that like one word that I personally wouldn't use, but like if I kept bringing that up, then I'd never stop bringing that up. So I'm just gonna move on.
Put into the body of a fucking human woman, and then the machine gets taken over by House. Are you telling me that House didn't notice? He didn't notice the dog. As well as this, Russell T Davies also brings him back at full strength, which means he should immediately win just by virtue of existing, and he should have been able to win at any time over the course of the entire show. But Russell T Davies accounted for this and gave him a new weakness, that being MILFs. He really wants to know who Ruby's mother is. He's really fucking
Again, this is dumb
because,
plot. As I've said numerous times, like Sutek does not care about humans one bit, and it's dumb that he would care about this. But again, it feels like at this point, all of these points have been made. Like, any decent point he's made has already been made 1,000 times over in better videos.
Fuck. It's never explained why he even gives a shit about this. Realistically, he definitely wouldn't. Now, if I was writing this, I would have just said that his soul escaped, but his body died. And that would explain why he doesn't have all of his powers. So to sum up the rest of the story, they go to the future because the evil Prime Minister did DNA tests on everyone, so he knows who Ruby's mother is, even though the ambulance in the future didn't know. Neither did the TARDIS, and also they already did a DNA test in literally the first episode.
The thing is, a lot of this stuff, like, these criticisms aren't, like, invalid and they're fair. It's just wild that we had to get through like 40 odd minutes of just racial slurs to get here. Like, if this was all the video was, I mean, I would probably say that all of these points have already been made, but they're fair points to make. It's just the fact that the rest of it is all just black people, am I right? And that's it.
Then they put a rope on Sutek, and then they drag him across the sky to his death. That's the big victory there. We got him. Most dangerous creature in existence, get a big rope on him, you know? Toymaker wasn't sure he could handle that rope. He didn't think that was a game he could handle. Tug of war. A normal man won it. And then the huge epic reveal. Who is Ruby's mother? Just some normal woman, dude. Just some fucking regular woman. What about the snow and all the crazy shit? It just happens. Just happens, you know?
Yeah.
What can they say? Just again, shit happens, you know?
The most valid points that this video makes are in its, like, final 10 minutes. But in order to get to that, you have to sit through, like, half an hour of, like, really, like, shit memes and, like, racism. And that's it.
It's important. Because we think she's important.
This is kind of my reaction to, bear with me now, those Star Wars films. I can't remember their titles, but in the last trilogy, the second film said that Daisy Ridley was nothing special. There was nothing special about her parentage. That she just got the Force. She was just ordinary, an ordinary person with the Force. And then the next one, they changed it all so that she was the child of the Emperor, and they made her. She was like cosmic and had godlike powers. And I really loved the version where she wasn't special, where she was ordinary. So this is my reaction to that.
Russell, you're fucking cracked. You've watched it.
See, I think that's a fair point. The issue with his calculation here, I think that's a fair point to make, because I do think it's way more interesting to have a Force character who, you know, isn't related to the Skywalkers or the Palpatines or whatever. The issue is that he does give Ruby, like, mystical abilities, and then just says she's normal anyway, which isn't how Doctor Who's reality works. You could do that with Star Wars, because theoretically anyone can have the Force. In Doctor Who, not everyone can have snow coming out of them. That's the issue with that, not the actual principle of it itself, which I actually think is fair.
Goddamn mind. You might be thinking, why was she able to point at the Doctor when they went back in time and they looked at it? Well, I think you'll find she was actually pointing at the road sign.
That was dumb.
The road sign, and the road sign.
Like, all the points about the finale, outside of obviously, you know, just the racism, are fair. It's just this is the only one that's had somewhat decent criticism attached to it.
It said Ruby Road on it. It said Ruby Road because she was naming her daughter, right? By pointing at the road sign. That's right. You might be asking, why was she wearing a Sith robe? Well, Russell can answer that.
Why Louise Miller wore an ancient medieval cloak to the church? I think that's time shrouding her.
Yeah, time shrouded her.
Doesn't he even make a joke that that's like his excuse? I think even in the commentary for Empire of Death, he says that this is where the plot falls apart. I've always kind of got the assumption that he wasn't happy with the way this one panned out.
Physical robe. As stated before, literally everyone hated this. Even the people who had been defending the show to death over the course of the season, even they had to admit this fucking sucks. So what did we learn about these new characters over the course of the series? Well, Ruby is a non-character who will purely be remembered for the fucking ass pull that happened in the finale. And the Doctor is gay, also cries every episode bar one, and it's the one he wasn't in, which makes him seem incredibly emotionally unstable. Originally, he was branded as like a more emotionally stable Doctor. All of the other Doctors have had random bouts of murderous intent. So this was advertised as a new start, a more emotionally mature Doctor. But I don't think Russell knows what emotional maturity is. He's like iDubbbz. He has to show all of his emotions on his face. And if that means bursting into tears over a fucking spoon, then it is what it is. And when all is said and done, nothing was achieved here. The Hooniverse got thrown out.
I agree. Nothing was achieved here. You're 100% right. You made a couple of normal points, but they've all been made before, and the rest of it is just racism to fill the time. There was nothing of value in this entire video.
Series was breaking records for lowest viewing figures. I think I was actually getting about 80% of the views the show was getting, which is kind of crazy to think about. Keemstar was outpacing the show. There were people who stuck through Jodie Whittaker's entire run, which to be honest is probably worse than this in every technical way. And even those people, even they didn't want to stick around and watch this. The fact is that politics is too divisive. I feel it's impossible to ignore. People would rather watch a worse...
Bro is actually gonna sit here and do a guys. Politics is too divisive after 45 minutes of just talking about how all black people are criminals. The lack of self-awareness is incredible.
Acted worse.
You know that meme of like, the SpongeBob meme of like, gee, I wonder who that's for? No, it's Garfield. They were like, I wonder who caused this? That's what this is.
Written, worse edited, lower budgeted show and watch a show that has gays in it. We've reached a point now where I don't think there's a single person who hasn't had some beloved childhood IP completely ruined by women and homosexuals.
It's not even a joke, is it? It's just gay people bad and women bad, and that's it. That's the video. That was one of the worst things I've ever watched. It went on for way too long, and the few decent points it made were just completely kind of degraded by random bits of racism for no reason. Maybe the Doctor is per capita more violent than the other ones. Haha, racism. Activate Windows is the white man's ceiling bird. I don't even know what that means. Oh my god, Aryan dog whistle. Jesus, the comments are crazy. You guys were right. I thought that last video was insane for how mask off it was. This one, I'd love to see people like defend this one without also then just like going full on into like racism. I'd be very curious to see that, but also kind of terrified. Thank you for recommending this to me, but also not thank you for recommending this to me because I had to sit through that. But I guess you did as well, so there's that. Moral of the story, if you're going to criticise Doctor Who, actually criticise things worth criticising. Don't watch this slop. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.